Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this WWE NXT December 26th review edition. Gotta say, this show was stacked for a full hour. Two really good matches. Jackson Riker had an impromptu matchup with an enhancement talent that he demolished from the unforgotten. Jackson Riker being the guy from the Unforgotten Sons, who formerly used to compete under TNA a long time ago, back in 2013, 2014. I think even 2012 he started out. So his showing was not all that impressive in my personal opinion. The crowd wasn't exactly all that into it either. They didn't really give a big pop to the show. To the matchup itself, and on top of it, the announcers did not even call the match whatsoever. I was starting to wonder, where is the commentators during this matchup? We had a promo by Velveteen Dream giving off his sound bites on how he felt of 2018 had turned out to be. What the legend wrestlers have said, such as the likes of Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Kurt Angle, and I think one or two more that also mentioned his name in comment of his performances that he has done this year in Twitter comments that were made throughout the year. This guy has got it all. I gotta say, whatever Shawn Michaels has done for this kid, he's done a lot. He's gotten this kid noticed. He is in the realm of the possibility of becoming a major name superstar in professional wrestling in WWE. Personally, I feel this. I think if they could do anything shocking for this year's Royal Rumble, I know this sounds crazy. More than likely it will not happen. I think it would be very interesting if Velveteen Dream came in as a surprise entrant to the Royal Rumble match and won it. Went to WrestleMania to compete for a WWE Championship title match. Not against Brock Lesnar unless somebody else is holding the Universal title. And he competes one-on-one with that person. Ends up losing because, yes, it is his first match ever in the WWE on a main event stage like WrestleMania, but just give him an opportunity to show off his talent and his in-ring ability to a large crowd such as like WrestleMania will have at MetLife Stadium. I think that would be fucking fantastic. Will it happen? Probably, more than likely, 99% not. Maybe in a year or two, possibly, that might happen if he gets moved to the main roster throughout 2019. But for right now, he is fine where he's at. Personally, that's how I feel. Tommaso Ciampa had a promo segment as well backstage. He went ahead and he was mentioning about Johnny Gargano getting a title shot. He feels that he deserves a title shot, just not his, because of the fact that he's defending his title against Aleister Black at the upcoming TakeOver event in Phoenix, Arizona. Gotta say there, Tommaso Ciampa, nice little way of pushing Johnny Gargano off to the other direction and orchestrating this. He's starting to become the NXT master of puppets for the storylines and booking of NXT, to be honest with you, the way things look to me. He mentions that he thinks that Johnny Gargano should be competing for the NXT North American Championship. Now, with Ricochet versus Johnny Gargano, that is a never done match. That match has never taken place before, which would be a very, very entertaining matchup, I think, especially for a takeover event that's taking place in Phoenix, Arizona. So that should be a very entertaining matchup if they decide to book that match. I don't see Johnny Gargano walking out as the North American champion. I think that would be really stupid on their part to give the title to Johnny Gargano when they should focus him back to competing for the NXT World Championship. I think this matchup would be good for him to have a spot on the card. He's definitely earned it, especially a victory over Aleister Black, like Tommaso Ciampa said. And my God, he's helping William Regal out in many different ways, booking matches for NXT TakeOver event. I mean, what could you ask for more with Tommaso Ciampa? He's been an outstanding character on the show. I think he is definitely a well-deserving World Heavyweight Champion, and they've done everything possible to make this guy get over and look great doing it. Getting into the two major matchups that technically, if you think about it, could have either one of them could have been the main event, but because the tag team titles were on the line, the women's fatal four-way match to determine the number one contender, of course, had to start off the show or be a co-main event type matchup. And I gotta say, this matchup was okay in my opinion. Was it perfect? Was it superb? Absolutely not. Shirai and Mia Yim were they worked very well together. If they had a women's tag team division that they could compete in based on what's been said on Monday Night Raw this past week, from what I heard, Vince McMahon has announced that the women's tag team division is going to start. When that's going to happen, I have no idea because I didn't watch Monday Night Raw. That I'm pretty certain not too many people did. Why? Because the show absolutely sucks. Granted, they have started this new era type shit where they're trying to meet what our demands are, but God only knows these people couldn't meet our demands if their dicks touched the floor. And if they don't have a dick like Stephanie McMahon's case, well, then I don't know what to tell her. Anyway, the bottom line is this matchup was a very good matchup. Shirai and Yim worked very well together in this matchup, trying to fend off Lacey Evans and Bianca Belair. They performed very well together. Lacey Evans and Bianca Belair formed an alliance for a little while in their matchup against these two women, trying to fend them off and being the only two women left, which actually ended up happening, and Bianca Belair stayed undefeated. Very surprised by the fact they went with Bianca Belair instead of Shirai, based on the fact that Shirai has a storyline building up with Shayna Baszler and the rest of her cronies. So that's a little bit surprising, and not to mention Shirai wanting to get revenge for Kairi Sane's attacks and, pretty much getting fucked over out of the Women's Championship altogether. But Bianca Belair, very interesting choice. I don't know why they would pick her, quite frankly. I mean, you didn't have to have her win, nor did you have to have her lose in any way, shape, or form, be away from the action where you could still say she's undefeated in a sense. But they decided to go with her directly. I don't know about that. And then the person they chose for her to beat, Lacey Evans. Ugh. Lacey Evans is being moved to the main roster and you're making her lose already? Not a good image in my mind. That don't smell good to me. That smells very, very fucking bad. I really didn't like the decision on WWE's thought on this with Lacey Evans losing. And I didn't like the idea Bianca Belair actually won the match nonetheless. It really kind of seems to make no sense to me. I think Shirai should have gotten the number one contendership to compete for the Women's Championship and lose to Shayna Baszler in the process. But that's apparently not happening. Maybe she's getting saved for a major matchup with Shayna Baszler in going into the WrestleMania weekend for their NXT TakeOver event in Brooklyn. So that's about the only thing I can come up with. But I think Shirai should eventually get a one-on-one matchup for the Women's Championship against Shayna Baszler. So that's really all I got to say on that. But Bianca Belair is going to receive her first loss. She ain't going to stay undefeated for very long. She's got another couple of weeks to be undefeated. So she better enjoy the undefeated streak that she's got going here. Going into other things, we had the NXT Tag Team titles on the line. Now, if anyone says that Heavy Machinery is not going to be able to get over in WWE's main roster tag team, you're fucking crazy. They had a hell of a performance with the fucking Undisputed Era. Now, some people might say to me, hey, Bruce, they were competing against the Undisputed Era. Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, two of the top best tag team partners in tag team wrestling right now in WWE. Why would you say that? Well, I don't know. Maybe because I've seen them compete in other tag team matches, and I've actually enjoyed their matches. They actually look like a tag team. They don't look like a joke. They look like they actually mean something. Now, then again, this is NXT we're talking about here. They put on good shows, they create their characters, and they give us something worth investing in. Unfortunately, WWE doesn't do that, at least not yet. We can only pray, but let's not get our hopes up, because more likely we will be disappointed. So, quite frankly with you guys, this was an outstanding performance by Heavy Machinery. I actually was kind of hoping they'd win, but then again, they're moving into the main roster, and I figured they would have been not getting the NXT tag team titles in this situation. They were just getting a bone thrown their way. Personally, I think this match should have been taking place in Phoenix, Arizona for the NXT tag team titles. Now they got a spot open for new number one contenders for those tag team titles, unless they're going to decide to take Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong and keep them off of the NXT TakeOver show. To me, that don't make any fucking sense. They're the two best wrestlers in tag team right now, and they're holding the tag team division up in NXT, to be quite frank with you. So they are the top-notch team, and to have them off the TakeOver event in Phoenix, I don't think is a very smart decision. This match really should have waited until Phoenix, Arizona TakeOver event. But, hey, they put on a really good, entertaining show. The match was kind of shorter than I would think it would be on a TakeOver show because of limited time, with it only being an hour show. But at the end of the day, it still was a good match. I have no complaints. Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong got near pinfalls on Oto Stokovich, and Tucker Knight, he was doing very well, but man, was he being thrown around badly, like placed in very bad situations. For example, Roderick Strong doing a German suplex on the side apron of the ring, the hardest part of the ring, and he completely botched it. I mean, granted, the botch didn't look all that bad because of the fact that how painful it looked, but I don't think it was meant for him to be flipped up in the air and then slammed onto the floor instead of the mat, the side mat on the apron of the ring. I mean, I don't know which one was worse to land, because I've never experienced being thrown around in a ring before or on the outside of the ring at all. So I don't know which one's worse, but quite frankly, that fall looked fucking painful as hell and must have been hurting Tucker Knight's back really fucking bad. I mean, he was fucking just... Ugh. He didn't look like he was feeling too good after that. It took him a while to get up, and Roderick Strong just kept fucking and not hitting him in the head constantly. But he was the legal man, and actually it was Kyle O'Reilly, excuse me. And he was hitting him in the head, and he just threw him finally back in the ring. There was several pinfalls on Otis. Otis, really, for a guy his size and overweight, man, this guy can really put on a good match. I don't know, man. I don't know what people have been saying, per se, but some of the people I watch their reviews, they are not too happy that Heavy Machinery is being moved to the main roster. They think they're a joke tag team. And me, quite frankly, I don't see that. I see them, I mean, they're a funny comedic tag team, but they are a tag team nonetheless. They give you something entertaining when they're in that ring. I mean, I'll give you a really good group that was very much like that and could get over with a crowd, give you a solid, good tag team matchup. Too Cool, Scotty 2 Hotty and Grandmaster Sexay. They were a great tag team. They put on really decent matchups. I think they won the tag team titles twice in their career. Throughout 2000 mostly is when they won those tag titles. And they were fucking awesome together. I really enjoyed their gimmick. And they were just humorous. But they could give you a really good matchup in tag team wrestling. So don't underlook these guys and say, hey, they're just, they ain't nothing, they're crap, they're just a joked out tag team that WWE could use on their main roster and make the tag team division even worse than it already is. But that's not the case. They can make them into a really good tag team with comedic side to them. But, as I've said before in this review so far, they don't know how to use their talent properly. So, their chances of succeeding as a tag team in itself, slim to none. Anyway, so Undisputed Era retained their tag team titles. They hit their finishing tag team maneuver on Otis. Otis got pinned 1, 2, 3, ended the match, show ends, blacks out. Overall, I find this show to be a very solid, good, entertaining show. Had somewhat of build to it, especially the Tommaso Ciampa segment, giving us an idea, maybe a matchup that could happen that's never happened before with Ricochet and Johnny Gargano. So for the NXT North American Championship, which I would be perfectly fine with, to give Johnny Gargano something to do on this pay-per-view that NXT's having. So he would be very good fit for that championship matchup. But at the end of the day, you want to end this story with Johnny Gargano winning the World Heavyweight Championship, which I do believe they're going to lead up to by WrestleMania weekend. Anyway, guys, I really enjoyed doing this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did doing it for you guys, giving you my thoughts and opinions on it. And on top of it, guys, leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the like button if you like the video. And hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And I thank you very much for watching and have a great night. Bye.